For the past 6 years, a ghost has been wandering among us. An undead law that creeps into police station, snoops on citizens. Section 66A. Today, we at the News Minute are in Ghostbuster mode to find out why this law that was scrapped in 2015 continues to haunt people across India. First, the basics. What is this law and why should you care whether it exists or not? Section 66A of the IT Act 2000 prescribed punishment for any offensive messages sent through a communication service. It penalized any offensive messages that are grossly offensive or have a menacing character. If found guilty under this offense, you could face a jail term of up to 3 years and/or a fine. And this is exactly what happened to two women from Maharashtra. When former Shiv Sena chief Bal Thackeray passed away in 2012, a shutdown was called in Mumbai. Shaheen took to Facebook to share what she thought was an innocuous post on how the shutdown is creating inconvenience, etc. Her friend Reenu liked the post, agreeing with her. But this random Facebook post sent Reenu and Shaheen to jail for 10 days. First, they were charged under IPC for spreading hatred, then under 66A. In Delhi, law student Shreya Singhal was appalled. Two women sent to jail for expressing their opinion? Shreya moved the Supreme Court. She said 66A is violative of Article 14, 19 and 21 of the Constitution. And hers was not the only petition. Many pleas had been filed in the Supreme Court against the rampant misuse of this law. The Supreme Court heard the cases for about 2 years, and in 2015, in a landmark judgment, it struck down the draconian 66A. You would think after the Supreme Court struck down this section as unconstitutional, it would stop being used. But that did not happen. A study by Internet Freedom Foundation shows that at least 800 times this scrapped law was still invoked, and these cases still continue in the court systems.
Despite the Supreme Court judgment, this law continued to be used. Now, this was not only a breach of our fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression, it also undermines the authority of the Supreme Court when it lays down a constitutional provision of law. And the third is that it also results in a wastage of scarce resources for policing, investigation, as well as the criminal justice system in which our courts are already burdened.
Now, when a law is scrapped, the most logical thing to do is remove all traces of it. But this never happened with 66A. A lot of the bare acts that are sent to police stations and courts still have this law. And only a footnote that says, oh, by the way, this law has been scrapped. But do people really read the footnote?
So many times it happens that though the provision has been struck down, then the police officers are not aware of this situation that has been struck down. And so many times they do not even understand the consequence of a provision being struck down. So they remain under the impression that 66A is still existing. That's number one. Number two is that in certain cases, which we find that even deliberately, the police has been using this provision to harass people. Thirdly, I must tell you that we were really surprised that even in the court cases, the court shows awareness of 66A being struck down, but still proceeds with the matter. So these are the situations, which are very alarming.
Since 2015, many states have tried to fill this void left behind by 66A. In fact, Kerala faced a lot of flack last year for trying to introduce Section 118A in the Kerala Police Act to, take action against any offensive, abusive or threatening social media posts. After a lot of outrage, Kerala was forced to take it back.
Because of some pressure which is being put by some particular lobby, whether political or otherwise, that these cases are pursued, and they think by this particular way they can really curtail the right of people to express, which is given under the Constitution. That appears to be the thing, that influential persons, suppose you say something against the influential person, very, very close to some police officers, then they will say that we'll teach him a lesson, not under 66A, but under some other provisions. So that has become that's the main reason for doing these things.
So why is it alarming? Why should you and I care that some 66A is being used to penalize people for what they post online? One argument can be responsible, don't put out controversial stuff. But the issue is much bigger than that. So many more Indians are online. They're virtually in constant touch with each other. And what will happen is that each and every word they utter online can come under this vague and arbitrary law.
For instance, subjectively, I may find another person's expression of allegiance to a particular football or a cricket team or to a specific player may be offensive to my personal beliefs of allegiance to another football player, team, or a player, or any other topic, for instance, in terms of much more popular cinema. All of this can give rise to a police complaint, which can then become actionable under Section 66A. This is why Section 66A remains a stain on a criminal justice system and should concern every ordinary Indian today.
Even if nobody is prosecuted or penalized, the existence of such a law, it has a chilling effect on people's right to say just about anything. Imagine not being able to announce that you like a particular movie or a player. Imagine going to jail for one unpopular opinion you tweeted.
You may not voice certain opinions which you legitimately have and can make in a democracy if you fear that there can be a criminal prosecution that can be made under a vague law. This will result in a process of self-censorship where you cannot engage in an expression of your ideas and advocacy of your beliefs. And if you take that away, then there is little to support the very function of a democracy.
The PUCL has moved the Supreme Court against the continued use of 66A, once in 2019 and now more recently. When the Supreme Court realized that this scrapped section was still being used, it was very upset and sent notices to the union government and the states, directing them to ensure that this scrap law is not used.
A judgment of the court, as I said, is something which is binding on all the authorities, high courts, courts, etc. And if that is not obeyed, then that is something which is very, very serious. And we have given suggestions that not only in this matter, but any other matter where the Supreme Court has given directions, they should be obeyed by all the authorities and by all the courts. That is important for the rule of law.
But what is really needed now is an active push by the legislative to ensure that this section disappears into oblivion.
Here also lies the lesson that there needs to be a proper scrutiny of legislative provisions prior to them being passed, because Section 66A actually came as an amendment on the basis of a proposal which was tabled in Parliament without adequate discussion. The Supreme Court issuing these notices to all state governments will bring a level of relief in terms of existing cases which we have identified, at least with 10 states, for at least 800 individuals. But the challenge is that Section 66A, to our knowledge, will continue to be used. It will continue to be used for the reasons I've stated earlier, and the fight against it will remain one of constant vigilance to ensure our liberty.
Experts say what's really needed in India now is a proper debate on every law in Parliament, something that we haven't seen in the past few weeks, so that no such arbitrary and vague laws exist at all. That is the biggest responsibility of both union and state governments, to uphold citizens' fundamental rights and stop clamping down. This is Sanyukta Dharmadhikari reporting for the News Minute.